Hi, in this video we are going to discuss about the VV model, verification and validation model. See, as we discussed in each SDLC model, there are 6 subphases: requirement, analysis, design, coding, testing, delivery and maintenance. But in the previous models like waterfall model or spiral model, we have seen each completion of each phase, then only we are moving to the next phase. So that because of verification technique is not there, that is the reason all the mistakes are moving from one phase to the other phase. So finally we are identifying all those gaps in testing phase. To overcome this, for stable requirements projects, the suitable model is VV model, verification and validation model. So if you observe this diagram, in the left side verification will be there, right side validation is there, phases are there: requirements, analysis, design, coding. These all are testings. Okay, in the VV model, the development and testing, those both the teams will be there in the project right from beginning of the project. Why? Because we need to identify the gaps early of the project. In that phase only we need to identify if any gaps are there in the requirements, if any gaps are there in the design, if any gaps are there in the analysis phase. So that is the reason parallel to the development phase, the testers also will involve, so that the mistakes will not move from one phase to the other phase. That is the advantage in the VV model. And also previous models there is no verification technique, whereas in this model verification technique will be there, reviews, walkthroughs, inspections will be there, and we are going to identify the gaps early of the project, so that the defects will not move to the testing phase, so that the stability of the entire application will be more. Please observe this diagram. So verification phase, first phase is requirement. Parallel to the requirement phase, what testers are doing? UAT related test cases and scenarios we are going to prepare. User acceptance testing related scenarios and test cases we are going to prepare. So if any gaps are there in the requirement, easily we will identify it in UAT phase. While the UAT people are writing the scenarios and test cases, if they come across any requirement is not clear, or requirement is wrongly updated, or client is expecting something else and requirement is telling something else, so easily we can identify if at all any gaps in requirements phase. Parallelly, if at all we are doing in UAT related scenarios and test cases. Okay, so next, once requirement phase is completed, next we are entering into the analysis phase. In the analysis phase, what exactly we are doing? Feasibility study we are doing, selection of technology and environment we are doing, and what else we are doing? Reverse KT documents we are preparing, team building we are doing, and like we are giving updates to the client, how much part of the requirements we understood and how much is pending. If any clarifications will be there, those clarifications we are going to get it from the client. So these are all the things going to happen in analysis phase. Parallel to the analysis phase, the testing people will be preparing their system testing related scenarios and test cases. Already we have seen in the levels of testings what is system testing. System testing is something like testing the entire application on various platforms, various operating systems, various browsers, various hardware configurations, software configurations. So that is something like system testing. So parallel to the analysis phase, the testing people will be involving and they are preparing their system testing related scenarios and test cases. Okay, analysis phase is completed. Very good. Next we are moving to the designing phase. In the designing phase, usually the development people will prepare their architecture of the entire application and all. So similarly, the testing people are involving and they are preparing their integration related scenarios and test cases. If at all they come across anything which is deviating, easily they will update to the development team. If at all any clarifications will be there, directly they will send a mail to the BA. If BA is not clarified, again we will get the inputs from the client. Okay, design phase is completed. Next, coding phase. Development people will start developing the programmable statements. So those programs parallelly, once if at all they completed anything, the development people only will do the unit testing. Already we have seen in the white box testing levels. So unit testing will be done by the development team. So all these phases are parallel to the development phases. Testing people also involving, and they are preparing their scenarios and test cases. Now you may get a doubt here. What is the advantage of parallelly the testing people are involving? The advantage is the mistakes in any phase will not, there may be a less chance to move to the other phase. If requirement something is missing, some requirement is not documented properly, or our understanding is wrong, if at all we are doing UAT related scenarios, at that time we are analyzing the requirements. If something is wrong or something is deviating, immediately we will catch and update to the corresponding team. That is the advantage. In the previous models we have seen that there is no verification technique and testing people are involving at the end of the project, at the end of the coding. So these are all the drawbacks in those models. To overcome all those, the stabilized model is VV model, verification and validation. These are all phases. Okay, testing people are involving, that is fine. And one more thing in this model is happening is requirement phase. Again, there may be a reviews. Each and every document, each and everything we are doing, reviews will be there, walkthroughs will be there, inspections will be there. So if at all we are doing all these things, obviously there is very less chance to move the mistakes from one phase to other phase. That is the advantage of the VV model. Why they named it as a VV model? It is a verification and it is a validation. Fine. Parallel to all these phases, testing people are involving. We are preparing our scenarios and test cases. Very good. Next, how the flow of the VV model will goes on is requirements is completed, analysis is completed, and then designing will be completed, and then coding will be completed. Once coding is completed, next the flow will goes on here. Development people will do the unit testing, and then they will give it to the testing team. Testing team will start with the module level testing usually. Those all, I mean in this diagram is not there. So module level, integration level, system level, UAT and production, pre-production and production. Like this is the way it is going to happen in VV model. The advantages, what are all the advantages in VV model? Each and everything we are going to cross check by the testing team. If testing team is cross checking, easily we will identify the gaps in that phase itself only. Very less chance will be there to move the mistakes from one phase to other phase. That is the advantage in the VV model. Next, testing team is involving beginning of the project, deviations on the requirements side easily we can identify. And if at all testing people are involving right from beginning of the project, testing team will give assurance to the client. Yes, we are going on right track to deliver the right product to you. Each and everything we are validating, each and everything we are verifying. So that is how the testing team will give assurance to the client, saying that we are going to deliver you 100% quality product to you. That is the advantage in the VV model. Next, coming to the drawbacks in the VV model, stable requirements are required for this model. If requirements are not stable, what will happen? Once coding is completed, client changed the requirements, again here also we need to start from beginning. Requirements, analysis, design, coding, testing. So if at all you want to go with VV model, the requirements should be stable enough to continue with all the phases. And more budget is required this model. Why? Because all the teams are involving in the project right from beginning of the project. Okay, right from beginning of the project, all the teams are involving, all the teams in the sense development team, testing team, architects team, DB team, services team, all the teams are involving right from beginning of the project. That is the reason more budget is required for this model. So this is something like VV model, verification and validation model. So when compared to waterfall and spiral, what is the advantage here in this model? Verification technique will be there. Testing team is involving in each phase of the project. That is the reason easily we will identify the mistakes or gaps or deviations in the early phase of the project, so we can give assurance to the client. We are going to give you 100% quality product to you. We will give at least assurance to him. We are going to deliver right product to him. So this is about the VV model, verification and validation model. So coming to this model, what are all the questions they may ask in the interview? So the questions side, what is verification? Verification is something like static testing. Reviews, walkthroughs, inspections will be there. We're going to verify each and every document whether it is correct or not. What is validation? Validation is something like actual testing. Whatever the scenarios, test cases we prepared parallel to the development phases, all those scenarios and test cases we are going to execute on the application once we get the code from the development team. That is something like validation. And what is the advantage of the VV model? Advantage is verification technique will be there right from beginning of the project. Early detection of the bugs will be there in this model, so that we will give assurance to the client we are going to deliver right product to him in on time. Coming to the disadvantages side, more budget is required for this model and stable requirements are required for this model. So these are all the questions they may ask you in the interview. What is verification? What is validation? How the process in the VV model? How the flow of the VV model will goes on? Parallel to the development phases, how the testing phases are going on? Parallel to the requirement, what we are doing, analysis, what we are doing, designing, what we are doing, coding, what we are doing. These all things they may ask you in the interview. I hope VV model is clear to you. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.